We resume our story in Damovot, Molkovia. The following 3 weeks vanished like spilled water on a hot summer day. At that moment, Damian found himself in the penthouse gym, and more particularly on the large training mat set in one of the room's corners. There, his movements followed peculiar patterns that, although seeming strange for the uninitiated, were actually used to strengthen every piece of skin from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, and every muscle from the smallest to the largest. Through a clever mix of stretching, squeezing, and twisting, his body gradually became stronger, with his skin taking on a leather-like toughness, and his muscles becoming increasingly sturdy, beyond what was normally possible through normal workout sessions. As the young man pushed his body toward its limits, rivulets of sweat started pouring all over his skin, while his breathing went from deep and relaxed to rapid and shallow. Having trained the martial art technique for 3 weeks now, Damian knew he was quickly approaching his physical limits, so when he started feeling lightheaded, the young man slowly stopped his movements and with the last of his strength, gently lay down on the floor, gasping for breath as his vision was filled with golden stars. Feeling as if every last bit of energy in his body had been drained, Damian mumbled between large gasps. Damn, that was intense. On the side, Seraphine, who was previously sitting on a workout bench and kept him company, suddenly stood up and, after grabbing the clean towel and the large bottle of water she kept by her side, walked towards him while commenting in a playful tone containing a hint of curiosity. Is it really that bad? Isn't that so-called 100 refinement technique supposed to help you grow stronger? How come you seem more and more tired every time you practice it? Too tired to answer, Damian waited until the young woman arrived by his side by following the sound of his heavy breathing, where she swiftly patted her way to his face, her soft hand lingering more than she needed to on his strong abdominal muscles. Then she started to gently wipe the sweat from his face, making the young man feel somewhat awkward, though inwardly happy. With his breathing growing deeper, the young man replied, "Well, it's not that I'm growing weaker, it's that I'm pushing my limits every time, and since my stamina recovery keeps growing better, I've got no qualms in training until I fall from exhaustion." Shaking her head slightly, Sarah replied, while the hand holding the towel started to coincidentally move downward. "I think you're pushing yourself too much. It's not as if we're in a life and death situation, are we? I'm sure that even if you slow down a bit, your strength will still grow quickly." As the woman's hand started becoming more mischievous, Damian gently grabbed it and pushed it away from his torso, despite Sarah's barely veiled disappointment. While doing so, he commented, "Life is unpredictable, Sarah, and I'm not about to gamble mine on hoping that other people will wait for me to grow strong enough to confront them. I mean, take the great accomplishment of the skin muscle strengthening level that I'm currently at. If I'd been as strong as I am now a month ago, there is no way I would have been knocked out by that guy's single punch. Not only that, but I could have protected you all instead of being a burden." To explain clearly, martial arts consist of 2 things: level and combat techniques. The first elevated your base strength, and the second used the former to increase one's fighting prowess beyond normal. If one had the level but not the combat techniques, it would make it difficult for the fighter to leverage much of their strength. And if they were pitted against someone with abundant fighting experience, then the result would often be a resounding defeat. In the young man's case, however, because of his frantic training during the last 3 weeks, his fighting prowess had improved massively, though it was still unknown if he could maintain the same level in a true life and death fight. Still, he was proud of his progress, which even Bryn qualified as utterly unfair improvements. Tilting her head while wearing a thoughtful expression, Sarah responded softly. I guess you're right. It's just that seeing you so exhausted every day, even multiple times a day lately, well, I just don't like it. If I could at least train with you, but with my eyes gone, After letting out a wistful sigh, she then added, I feel a bit useless, I guess. Seeing the forlorn expression on her face, Damian felt a pang of pain in his heart. After all, Sarah may be a bit playful and have a hard time keeping her hands to herself, especially since his body had started growing some impressive muscles. But he could tell she genuinely cared about him beyond his physical appearance. Letting out a small sigh, he then gently grabbed her hands and uttered reassuringly, Come on, you're the complete opposite of useless. I mean, without you being constantly by my side every time I practice, do you really think I'd push myself so much? It may sound strange, but seeing you helps me keep in mind why I need to grow as strong as possible and as quickly as possible. Hearing his words, the young woman's despondent heart fluttered with happiness as she asked, her expression somewhat expectant. You really think that? You're not saying that just to make me feel better? Her question made him briefly chuckle before he replied. It's both, actually. It's the truth, and I'm telling you this to make you feel better. His teasing words brought an amused smile to Sarah's face before she commented, You really have a way with words, don't you? After the two bantered with each other for a bit longer, Damian noticed how the time was growing late, the hour approaching dinner time. He thus suggested they leave the room, a suggestion the young woman accepted with a cheerful expression, her bright smile warming his heart. As the young man followed Sarah outside, the two then separated once upstairs, where each went to take a shower in their respective bathroom. As the lukewarm water fell on his skin, Damian felt the sweat sticking to him being washed away along with some of his physical and mental exhaustion. After 15 minutes of pure bliss, the young man turned off the water, grabbed a towel and wiped his body dry before putting on the clean clothes he had prepared previously. As he left the room, his ears caught the sound of running water, bringing an amused smile to his face as he mumbled, Women in showers, huh? Shaking his head slightly, the young man then went downstairs, where he saw both Bryn and Leah chatting in the living room. After joining the two, the conversation shifted toward Damian's incredible improvements, as Bryn commented, With how quickly you reached the great achievement level, it shouldn't take you long to get to the perfection level. But don't be too complacent, because many people are stuck at that level for years without being able to break through to the tendon bone tempering level. Of course, I don't think the bottleneck will stop you for long, but don't be surprised if you don't break through right away, alright? With one being called novice martial artist and the other elite martial artist, it was not exactly a surprise that reaching that level was relatively difficult. Still, with his spark, Damian was not really worried, though outwardly he still nodded respectfully while saying, "I know, don't worry. I'm not about to become arrogant just because I gained a bit of strength. After all, in front of you, Bryn, what does my little power even amount to?" Seeing that he was taking her advice seriously, Bryn nodded and added with a light smile, "Well, I still find it hard to believe how quickly your strength improved in a single month. I hope your talent holds up as you grow stronger." Although less obvious for Seraphine because of her missing eyes, whether it was Bryn or Leah, both could see Damian's abnormal physical transformation during that single month. After all, although martial art practice improved practitioners' physical appearances, it was not to the point where someone went from being average-looking with a frail body to a handsome young man with muscles as imposing as they were well-proportioned. To the two women, it felt as if the young man's body was being altered toward both practical and aesthetic perfection. That being said, both Bryn and Leah attributed that change to a hypothetical martial art physique or superpower awakening, and thus did not comment on it. After all, it was not as if the young man knew much more than them, right? As time passed by, the conversation switched to Damian asking a few questions about his practice of the 100 refinement technique, as despite his high comprehension, there were a few points that still baffled him. As the three were deeply engrossed in their chat, the sound of footsteps caught Damian's attention, prompting him to turn his head toward the stairs leading to the second floor. There, Seraphine was walking down, her wet, bright red hair wrapped in a somewhat damp towel. Seeing her sister arriving, Bryn stated, "Now that you're here, sis, we can talk about what to do tomorrow. Are you three coming with me to Novograd for my match, or are you staying here?"
Morning comes too early, hands already warm, working for a better day, trying to keep me warm. Boss man count his tally, we just count our turn. Fair don't come easy, I had to stand and fight for mine.